Let me start with a simple, familiar moment. Imagine you're sitting at your kitchen table. In front of you is a beautifully grilled fillet of fish, a squeeze of lemon, a few herbs, maybe a glass of water on the side. It smells delicious. It looks healthy. And for years, you've probably believed you were doing the right thing for your body. After all, fish is healthy, right? For the most part, yes. Fish is lean. It's packed with high-quality protein. It's full of omega-3 fatty acids that support the heart, brain, and even mood. In fact, I've recommended fish to hundreds of patients over my 20 years in practice. But here's the truth most people never hear, especially those over 60. Not all fish are created equal. Some types of fish that are sold in your local grocery store, served in your favorite restaurant, and praised by well-meaning nutrition guides, can quietly poison your body. Not overnight, but slowly over time. They can cloud your memory, disturb your sleep, cause your hands to tremble, aggravate your joints. They can contribute to heart problems, mood swings, and even early signs of dementia. And the worst part? Most people never connect the dots between what they're eating and what. If you're over 60 or you care for someone who is, this message is urgent. Because as we age, our bodies become less efficient at eliminating toxins. The kidneys slow down. The immune system weakens. The brain becomes more vulnerable. What used to be harmless in your 40s or 50s may now be dangerously harmful. I'm not here to scare you. That's never been my role as a physician. I'm here to empower you with knowledge, compassion, and clarity. Because once you know what to avoid, you gain control. And better yet, I'll be sharing safer, smarter alternatives that let you keep enjoying fish without gambling your well-being. I've spent decades watching patients struggle with fatigue, forgetfulness, and strange symptoms that doctors couldn't explain until we looked at their diets. Fish can heal, but the wrong kind of fish can also quietly harm. And for older adults, the stakes are much, much higher. In this video, I'll walk you through 6 specific types of fish that seniors should avoid under any circumstance. I'll explain why they're dangerous, what they do inside the body, and how to recognize them on menus and labels. Most importantly, I'll give you better options, fish you can enjoy with confidence. Let's start this journey with open eyes and an open heart, because small changes today can mean a stronger, clearer, more vibrant tomorrow. Are you ready? Let's begin with a fish that might be sitting in your freezer right now, one that many people, including health enthusiasts, consider beneficial. But for seniors, it can be a silent threat to memory, balance, and heart health. Let's talk about king mackerel. Let me tell you about Robert. Robert is 72, a retired electrician, a grandfather of 5, and the undisputed grill master of his neighborhood. Every Sunday for the past 15 years, he's manned the backyard barbecue with pride. His specialty? Thick, flaky fillets of king mackerel, seared to perfection, seasoned just right. For years, he believed, like many people do, that he was making a healthy choice. Fish is good for the heart, he told me once. And king mackerel? High in protein, rich in omega-3s. That had to be a win, right? But recently, Robert's daughter brought him to my clinic. She was worried. He seemed off. He was forgetting small things, like where he parked the car, or the names of people he's known for years. He'd grown noticeably tired during the day, taking long naps that didn't help. And there were times when his hands would shake ever so slightly when lifting his coffee mug. At first, it looked like normal aging. Maybe stress. Maybe early signs of cognitive decline. But something didn't sit right. We ran blood work. We checked his heart, his thyroid, his sleep. Everything seemed stable. But then I asked a different question. Robert, what's your diet like these days? That's when he proudly told me about his Sunday king mackerel tradition. And that's when I knew we might be looking at mercury poisoning. You see, king mackerel is one of the highest mercury fish sold in America today. It's not contaminated because it's bad or spoiled. It's contaminated because of its biology. King mackerel is a large, long-lived predatory fish. It eats other fish. And over time, it accumulates mercury from everything it consumes. The bigger and older the fish, the more mercury it stores in its flesh. Now, mercury is a heavy metal. It's toxic to humans. In younger adults, the body is usually able to eliminate small amounts. But after 60, our organs don't function the way they once did. The liver detoxifies more slowly. The kidneys process less efficiently, which means mercury stays in the body and builds up over time. In seniors, even moderate mercury exposure can cause memory loss, difficulty concentrating, tremors, mood changes, nerve damage, cardiovascular stress, and in severe cases, permanent cognitive decline. And the scariest part? You may not feel a thing until it's already done real damage. Now, I want to clear something up. People often confuse king mackerel with Atlantic mackerel, which is commonly found in canned fish or sold as a safer option. The two are not the same. King mackerel equals high mercury equals avoid. Atlantic mackerel equals low mercury equals safer. This confusion has led many people, including older adults, to unknowingly harm themselves in the name of eating healthy. When I explained this to Robert and his daughter, they were shocked. He had no idea. He thought he was doing everything right. And that's the hardest part of this work, watching good people suffer from bad information. The good news is, once we removed king mackerel from his diet and replaced it with safer alternatives, his energy began to return. The brain fog lifted. The tremors eased. His daughter noticed a difference within weeks. So, if you're watching this right now and you've eaten king mackerel in the past, don't panic. But do act. Check your freezer. Read your restaurant menus. Ask questions at the seafood counter. If you see king mackerel, pass. What should you eat instead? Here are two of my favorite alternatives for seniors. 1. Wild-caught salmon. It's rich in omega-3s, supports heart and brain health, and has very low mercury levels, especially when sourced from Alaska or the Pacific Northwest. 2. Sardines. Yes, sardines. They're small, low on the food chain, and packed with nutrients. They have virtually no mercury. They also come canned, which makes them affordable and convenient. Try them with lemon on toast or add them to pasta. Both of these options are not only safer, they're smarter. Because at this stage in life, food isn't just about taste. It's about protection. Every bite either adds to your future or subtracts from it. To summarize, avoid king mackerel completely, especially after age 60. Watch for mislabeling, don't confuse it with Atlantic mackerel. Swap it with wild salmon or sardines. Think long-term because mercury doesn't leave the body easily. Robert's story is far too common, and it doesn't need to be yours. Let's move on to another fish, one that's even sneakier. One that may not even tell you what it is until it's too late. Let's talk about tilefish. Let me take you to a familiar scene, one many of my patients have described. It's a Friday evening. You're out at a nice restaurant with your spouse or perhaps your grown children. The lighting is warm. The tablecloths are crisp. The waiter brings the specials, and one of them sounds perfect. Catch of the day, grilled white fish, delicately finished in lemon butter and herbs. You nod. It sounds healthy, light, safe. After all, white fish is white fish, right? Not always. Because that catch of the day might actually be something far more dangerous, tilefish. And if you're over 60, tilefish could quietly damage your brain, your nerves, and your long-term health, one elegant bite at a time. I've seen it happen. Let me explain. Tilefish is a deep-water species often caught in the Gulf of Mexico, and it has a reputation in certain restaurants as an exotic, upscale menu item. You won't always see the word tilefish printed clearly. Sometimes, it's hidden under generic terms like grilled white fish or buttery catch. But underneath that soft texture and mild flavor lies a major health threat. Tilefish contains some of the highest mercury levels of any fish in the ocean, higher, even, than king mackerel. How bad is it? According to the FDA and EPA, tilefish from the Gulf is so contaminated that it tops the do not eat list for children, pregnant women, and yes, older adults. Mercury doesn't discriminate. But aging bodies, especially after 60, can't process it the same way. In seniors, even low-level, repeated exposure to mercury can result in forgetfulness, irritability or mood changes, numbness or tingling in hands and feet, poor coordination, symptoms that mimic early dementia. I remember one woman, Elaine, 67, who came to my office complaining of feeling disconnected. She had always been mentally sharp, but lately, words escaped her. She would forget names mid-sentence. Her balance felt off. She was worried about Alzheimer's. When I asked about her diet, she proudly said she and her husband had started eating more seafood. Turns out, they went to a local bistro every other week, where she ordered the chef's white fish special. You already know what it was. Tilefish. We tested her mercury levels. They were elevated, high enough to explain the neurological symptoms. We made immediate changes to her diet, started a gentle detox protocol under supervision, And within a month, she was feeling clearer, steadier, more like herself. What's heartbreaking is this. She thought she was doing the right thing. That's why I'm telling you, don't wait for symptoms. Don't wait until something feels wrong. Act now. Here's how to protect yourself. 1. Be skeptical of vague fish labels. If a restaurant or market just says white fish, ask questions. What kind? Where's it from? If they don't know or won't tell you, skip it. 2. Steer clear of tilefish from the Gulf of Mexico. This region has some of the most contaminated waters when it comes to mercury. Tilefish from here is especially risky. 3. Opt for low-mercury alternatives. 2 excellent options are cod, mild, flaky, and widely available. Haddock, light in taste and very low in mercury. Both are gentle on the stomach, affordable, and safe for seniors. Also, remember this. High price doesn't mean high safety. Tilefish is often presented as a luxury item. But when it comes to mercury, it's one of the most toxic choices you can make, especially later in life. So the next time you sit down at a restaurant, and that server says, "Today's special is a beautiful white fish," you'll know what to ask. You'll know what to avoid. And most importantly, you'll know how to protect your brain, your balance, and your peace of mind. Because a $20 dinner shouldn't cost you your clarity. Let's move forward. We've covered king mackerel, a favorite on the grill, and tilefish, which hides behind restaurant menus. Now let's talk about something even more seductive. A fish that seems elegant, luxurious, and harmless. But for seniors, it can be one of the most toxic choices of all. Let's talk about swordfish. Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard someone say, "Come on, I'm going to treat myself just this once"? It usually happens at a special occasion. A wedding anniversary, a cruise dinner, a night out at an expensive restaurant. And often, that treat is a slice of something rich, buttery, and elegant swordfish. It's not a fish most people eat every day. It's not in your weekly meal plan or lunchbox. But when it shows up on the menu, it feels like a reward, a luxury. That's what makes it so dangerous. Because behind that beautiful presentation, swordfish carries a burden that many older adults can no longer afford: extremely high levels of mercury. You see, swordfish is one of the ocean's top predators. It's massive, it lives long, and it eats a lot of other fish. Over time, it accumulates mercury at levels far beyond what the human body should process, especially after the age of 60. Now, here's something I want to be very clear about. Cooking does not remove mercury. I've had patients tell me, "But I grilled it thoroughly," or "I thought searing it would burn off any toxins." That's not how mercury works. It's not a bacteria. It's not a parasite. It's a heavy metal, baked right into the tissue of the fish. Whether it's raw, baked, grilled, blackened, or broiled, it's still in there. Let me give you an example. Alan was 69 when he and his wife booked a 2-week Mediterranean cruise. It was their dream vacation. On the 3rd night, he ordered swordfish steak, grilled, plated with capers and lemon butter. He loved it. He loved it so much that over the course of the trip, he ordered swordfish 3 more times. Now, one meal probably wouldn't have caused issues. But when he returned, he started noticing strange symptoms. He couldn't focus during conversations. He felt dizzy when standing. His handwriting looked shakier. He assumed it was jet lag, but the symptoms didn't fade. By the time he came to see me, he was scared. His blood pressure had gone up. His short-term memory was slipping. We were in tests. And yes, his mercury levels were elevated, all from what he thought was an indulgence. That's the problem with swordfish. It's not just dangerous because of what it is. It's dangerous because of when and how we choose it. We associate it with relaxation, with luxury, with celebration. But our bodies don't care about the context. They only care about the content. And in swordfish, the content is often toxic. So let me walk you through what this really means for older adults. Swordfish consumption can lead to cognitive decline, numbness or tingling in extremities, loss of balance or coordination, heart rhythm problems, increased risk of neurodegenerative conditions. And remember, your body eliminates mercury slowly. So even if you only eat swordfish once a month, the mercury can accumulate silently over time. If you or someone you care for has a history of high blood pressure, kidney strain, tremors, or memory issues, swordfish may not be a splurge, it may be a trigger. So what can you do instead? You don't have to give up flavor to stay safe. Here are 2 safer alternatives I recommend to my patients. 1. Rainbow trout. Mild, delicious, and extremely low in mercury. Rainbow trout is also rich in healthy fats and protein, and it's easy to prepare. Whether baked or grilled, it holds its flavor without holding toxins. 2. Pollock. Often found in fish sticks or white fish fillets, pollock is flaky, affordable, and versatile. It's also low in mercury and gentle on the digestive system. Both options give you the experience of a hearty, satisfying fish without the invisible cost of mercury buildup. So the next time you're handed a menu and tempted by swordfish, pause. Ask yourself, is it worth the risk? Is this one meal worth a month of brain fog, fatigue, or worse? Because in our later years, indulgence should come with clarity, not consequences. Let's move forward. The next fish is one you've probably seen in sushi rolls, seafood platters, and gourmet grocery stores. It's sleek. It's trendy. And for many people, it feels youthful and exciting. But for seniors, it's a double threat, high in mercury, and often served raw. Let's talk about big-eye tuna. Let's talk about something modern, popular, even stylish. Sushi. You've likely seen it more and more in recent years, not just in restaurants, but in grocery stores, buffets, even family gatherings. And it's not just young people who enjoy it. I've had plenty of older patients tell me proudly, "Doctor, I tried sushi for the first time last month, and I loved it." That's wonderful. Trying new things keeps us vibrant. But not everything trendy is safe, especially as we age. And one of the most commonly featured ingredients in sushi, big-eye tuna, can be a quiet, dangerous source of both heavy metal toxicity and bacterial infection. Let me explain why. Big-eye tuna is a large, deep ocean fish. It's a predator. Like swordfish and king mackerel, it consumes smaller fish, and in doing so, accumulates mercury over time. But unlike those other fish, big-eye tuna is often eaten raw, in sushi, sashimi, or seared on the outside and left rare in the center. That's where the problem multiplies. Not only are you ingesting mercury, but you're also increasing your risk of ingesting bacteria and parasites, and your body, especially after age 60, may not be strong enough to fight them off. Let me give you a story. Sandra, 65, came in complaining of chronic fatigue and stomach cramps. She had no fever, no vomiting, just a dull, unrelenting discomfort. She assumed it was stress or perhaps a virus going around. I asked about her recent meals. She smiled and said her daughter had taken her out for a fun sushi night 2 weeks prior. We ran tests. The results showed signs of low-grade bacterial infection, likely from raw fish. We also did a mercury screen, just to be safe. Her levels were borderline elevated. She was stunned. But it was just one dinner, she told me. That's how this works. With seniors, a single exposure to contaminated raw fish can create symptoms that last weeks or months. Why? Because the immune system weakens with age. Because the gut becomes more sensitive. Because the detoxification process slows down. Big-eye tuna introduces 2 serious threats. 1. Mercury toxicity. Causes cognitive decline. Increases risk of depression. Aggravates tremors, fatigue, and sleep disturbances. 2. Bacterial or parasitic infection. Can cause digestive issues. Triggers inflammation. May lead to foodborne illness requiring hospitalization in seniors. But here's where things get even more confusing for people. Not all tuna is dangerous. There are several types, and some are far safer than others. Let's break them down. Big-eye tuna, dangerous high mercury. Often served raw. Avoid. Albacore tuna, moderate risk, still higher mercury than average. Limit to small portions, cooked. Skipjack tuna, safe, also known as light tuna, in canned form. Lower mercury. Senior friendly. If you or someone you love enjoys tuna, here's what I recommend. 1. Choose can light tuna, skipjack. It's affordable, easy to prepare, and significantly lower in mercury. You can enjoy it 2 to 3 times a week, safely. 2. Cook it when possible. Raw fish carries real risks, especially for aging immune systems. Opt for cooked tuna in casseroles, sandwiches, or light salads. 3. Limit portions. Even with safer varieties, moderation is key. For seniors, I recommend no more than 2 servings per week. This isn't about giving up all the foods you love. It's about understanding what those foods might be doing inside your body. Because when it comes to big-eye tuna, that beautiful red slice on your sushi platter might be carrying more than flavor. It might be carrying bacteria your body can't handle, or mercury that clouds your thinking. Remember this. Mercury accumulates. Bacteria spreads, and aging bodies respond differently than they did 20 years ago. So when you're at the grocery store or out to dinner and you're thinking about ordering tuna, pause. Ask which kind it is. Choose wisely. And when in doubt, go with the safer option. You deserve meals that support your health, not steal from it. Let's move forward. The next fish on our list is one that you've almost certainly eaten. It's bright, it's affordable, and it's almost always labeled as healthy. But if it's raised the wrong way, it can carry chemicals, antibiotics, and inflammatory compounds that quietly burden your heart, your joints, and your immune system. Let's talk about farmed salmon. Salmon. Now that's a fish most people feel good about. Walk into any grocery store, and it's front and center. Bright pink fillets, neatly wrapped in plastic, often marked down in price. Omega-3s. Heart-healthy, anti-inflammatory. We're told it's one of the best things we can eat. And in many cases, that's true. But not all salmon is created equal. And if you're over 60, the wrong kind of salmon can quietly harm your body every time you eat it. I'm talking specifically about farmed salmon, especially salmon raised in countries with loose regulations, such as Chile or parts of Southeast Asia. Let me explain what's really going on beneath that bright, appealing color. Farmed salmon are not raised in open, clean waters. They're kept in crowded underwater pens, sometimes containing tens of thousands of fish packed into a single area. Because the conditions are so cramped, disease spreads quickly. And to keep that from becoming a problem, they're pumped full of antibiotics, sometimes chemicals banned in the US. They're fed low-quality pellets, made from processed fish meal, soy, grains, and chemical binders. These pellets are also often tainted with PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, and dioxins, both known carcinogens and hormone disruptors. But perhaps the most shocking part? That pink color? It's often not natural. Farmed salmon flesh is typically gray, so farmers add synthetic colorants to the feed to make it look like wild salmon. That way, when you see it in the store, you think it's fresh, healthy, safe. But underneath the surface, what you're actually looking at is a fish exposed to harmful chemical pollutants, a fish fed contaminated, artificial feed, a fish that may be carrying residue from banned antibiotics, a fish whose flesh contains inflammatory compounds harmful to seniors. Let's talk about the real impact on your body. If you're over 60, you already know your body changes with time. Your immune system isn't what it once was. Inflammation lingers longer. Your liver and kidneys take more time to process waste and toxins. And that means the chemicals in farmed salmon don't just pass through. They stay. They stress your systems. They accumulate. Here's what I've seen in my patients. Increased joint pain and stiffness. More frequent inflammatory flare-ups. Worsening autoimmune conditions. Higher cholesterol and blood pressure. Elevated cancer risk markers. One patient of mine, Nancy, 73, had been eating salmon twice a week for years. She thought she was doing everything right, but she kept having stomach upset, joint swelling, and brain fog that just wouldn't lift. We looked at her diet, and nearly all of her salmon came from bulk packs of Chilean farmed salmon, often on sale. Once we removed it and replaced it with wild-caught salmon from Alaska, her symptoms began to fade. Within weeks, she felt lighter, clearer, less inflamed. That's how fast the right fish can change your health, and how quietly the wrong fish can damage it. Now, I want to be clear, this doesn't mean all salmon is bad. Salmon is still one of the best fish you can eat, if you choose the right kind. Here's what I recommend to every senior who eats salmon. 1. Choose wild-caught Alaskan salmon. That phrase matters. Alaskan salmon are raised in cold, clean waters. They feed on a natural diet. They're not exposed to artificial chemicals, dyes, or antibiotics. And they have some of the lowest contaminant levels of any fish available. Yes, it may cost a little more, but your health is worth it. In fact, when people tell me they're worried about the price, I ask, what's more expensive, better fish today or prescription drugs tomorrow? 2. Avoid salmon labeled farmed from Chile, Asia, or unknown sources. Check the label. Ask the fishmonger. If it doesn't say wild-caught or list a specific safe region like Alaska, assume it's farmed. And skip it. 3. Limit processed salmon products. Things like salmon patties, smoked salmon, or pre-seasoned frozen fillets are often made from low-grade farmed fish. Read the packaging carefully. 4. Watch your portion size. Even wild salmon is rich. A 3 to 4 ounce serving, 2 times per week, is plenty to enjoy the benefits without excess. Let me say this again. Salmon can be a superfood for your brain, your joints, and your heart. But if it's farmed, dyed, and drugged, it's not helping you. It's slowly working against you. So the next time you're shopping and see that salmon on sale, glowing pink through the plastic, look again. Turn the package over. Read the label. Make the intentional choice. You deserve better than chemical fish. You deserve clarity, energy, strength, and all of those are possible when your food supports you, not poisons you. Let's move on. The next fish we're going to talk about might surprise you the most. It's comfort food. It's tradition. It's that smell of Saturday morning, of backyard fryers, of childhood kitchens. For many families, it's a cultural staple. But when imported from the wrong places, it can carry antibiotic-resistant bacteria and contamination that your body simply can't fight off. Let's talk about imported catfish. Let's talk about comfort. For many of us, food isn't just nourishment. It's memory. It's culture. It's love. And few dishes capture that better than fried catfish. Maybe your father made it in a cast-iron skillet. Maybe your grandmother had her own special seasoning. Maybe Saturday mornings meant the smell of golden batter and bubbling oil, drifting from the kitchen while the whole family gathered in anticipation. Catfish isn't just food. It's history. But in today's world, not all catfish is created the same. And for older adults, especially those with weakened immune systems, imported catfish can pose serious, hidden dangers. Let me explain. In the United States, catfish farming is strictly regulated. There are standards for water quality, feed content, and antibiotic use. But that's not the case in many other countries, especially in parts of Southeast Asia, where much of the world's cheap, imported catfish is produced. These foreign fish farms often operate under poor sanitation conditions. The water may be filled with waste, chemicals, and bacteria. And to prevent mass die-offs, the fish are frequently given antibiotics, many of which are banned in the U.S. due to their link with antibiotic-resistant bacteria. What does that mean? It means that when you eat imported catfish from these unregulated farms, you may also be ingesting bacteria that resist modern medicine, chemicals that your body can't process, toxins that increase inflammation and gut irritation. Let me share a real story. James, 74, had been enjoying fried catfish since he was a boy. Every Friday night, he cooked it for his grandkids. But last year, after trying a new batch of frozen fillets bought in bulk from a discount store, he ended up in the ER. Nausea, diarrhea, low-grade fever, and something more concerning, his white blood cell count had dropped, and he couldn't fight off the infection. The doctors traced the cause to drug-resistant bacteria, likely from imported catfish contaminated with banned antibiotics. He recovered, slowly, but for weeks, he was too weak to stand for long. And emotionally, he felt betrayed. He thought he was passing down tradition. Instead, he was passing down a risk he never saw coming. This is the reality for many seniors. As our immune systems weaken with age, infections that are mild for younger adults can become severe. A stomach bug becomes dehydration. A foodborne illness becomes hospitalization. A small misstep becomes a big setback. So how do you protect yourself without giving up the foods you love? Here's what I recommend when it comes to catfish. 1. Choose U.S. farmed catfish only. Look for labels that say, U.S. farm-raised. Product of the USA. Avoid anything that says, product of Vietnam. Product of China. Or imported with no country listed. American catfish farms are closely monitored and far safer, especially for seniors. 2. Buy fresh or frozen from trusted sources. Ask your fishmonger or butcher where the catfish comes from. Reputable stores are transparent. If they can't give you a straight answer, consider it a red flag. 3. Cook it thoroughly. Even safe catfish should be well cooked, especially for older adults. Avoid raw or undercooked versions. Internal temperature should reach at least 145 degrees Fahrenheit. 4. Don't rely on price alone. Yes, imported catfish is often cheaper. But ask yourself this: what is your health worth? A few dollars saved today aren't worth weeks of illness or a weakened immune system. 5. Educate your family. If your children or grandchildren do the shopping or cooking, talk to them about this. Help them understand that tradition is about love, not shortcuts. Let them know you'd rather eat a smaller portion of something safe than a full plate of something harmful. Food is meant to comfort us, to bring us together, and you don't have to give that up. You just have to make smarter, safer choices. So the next time you smell that familiar sizzle of catfish in the skillet, ask yourself, where did this fish come from? Was it raised with care or with chemicals? Is it nourishing my body or silently hurting it? Because what we eat at this stage of life doesn't just fill our bellies, it shapes our memory, our strength, and our future. Let's review. We've now talked about 6 types of fish that seniors should either avoid completely or consume only with great caution. King mackerel, loaded with mercury, dangerous for the brain. Tilefish, often unlabeled, very high in mercury. Swordfish, elegant but toxic, especially to the nervous system. Big-eye tuna, raw and risky, high in mercury and bacteria. Farmed salmon, chemically treated, full of antibiotics and dyes. Imported catfish, raised in poor conditions, carries drug-resistant bacteria. You may have eaten some of these before. You may even have some in your freezer right now. That's okay. What matters is what you do next. Up next is our conclusion, a final word on how you can take action starting today. Let's take a deep breath. We've covered a lot. We've looked at 6 types of fish that are often praised as healthy, trusted for decades, passed down in family recipes. And yet, for older adults, they may no longer be safe. Not because your body failed you, but because your body changed. And because the food system changed too. Let me say this clearly. This isn't about fear. It's about power. It's about giving you the tools to protect your mind, your memory, your movement. It's about helping you enjoy the meals you love without quietly damaging your nerves, your immune system, or your heart. And it starts with one small, clear step. Check your freezer. Tonight, open the door. Look at the labels. Do you see king mackerel? Imported catfish? Farmed salmon from Chile? If so, consider removing them. Donate them. Discard them. But don't let them linger. Talk to your family. If you're not the one doing the shopping or the cooking, share what you've learned. Start the conversation. Send them this video. Remind them that your health matters and that what's on your plate is part of your care. Make a single change. Swap out one high-risk fish for a safer one. King mackerel wild-caught salmon. Tilefish cod or haddock. Swordfish rainbow trout. Big-eye tuna canned light tuna. Farmed salmon wild Alaskan salmon. Imported catfish U.S. farm-raised catfish. These are small, strategic shifts, but they can make a real difference in your body over time. I've spent 20 years watching patients get stronger just by making better choices in their kitchens. I've seen energy return. I've seen memory improve. I've seen the light come back into their eyes because their bodies were no longer working against the food they thought was helping them. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You don't need to fear fish, but you do need to be more intentional. Because after 60, food is no longer just about taste. It's about protection. It's about prevention. It's about peace of mind. So tonight, make one decision. Just one. Check the label. Ask the waiter. Choose the better option. And know this, you are not helpless. You are not behind. You are informed. And that means you're in control. Take care of yourself. Take care of those you love. Because the future is built one bite at a time. I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe. Stay strong. Stay well.